June 2019 was my leave date for my abusive relationship, marriage. We're coming on 6 years. And ever since I left then and started healing, I felt this big pull to help others in that situation as well. And I kind of have some videos about it a little bit. But I know this is what I really need to do, and this would mean a lot to me. So I wanted to just, I'm going to start something where every day I kind of get on here and we'll talk about something. Leave your comments about something good that's happened, something not so good, whatever, how you're feeling. If you're proud of yourself for standing up for yourself, proud of yourself for leaving, or if something really bad happened and you just need to get it off your chest to somebody who understands. And that's all I want to be for you guys that are still watching this video. And so follow along and let's be there for each other. You may not realize it's abuse. I didn't. It can start as comments, guilt trips, isolation, silent treatment, and some other things that I'll probably touch on in another video. The truth is abuse can come in many forms. It's not just physical, it's not just SA, it can also be emotional, verbal, and financial. If you're constantly confused or anxious, or trying to do everything in your power to make sure that they are not upset or angry, then you might need to take a look at the relationship in a bigger picture. I'm going to be continuing this series, and I'm going to do this every day. So if you'd like to follow along and get more information, and again, I am not a therapist. This is just based off of things that I've learned on my own journey, and I want to share and be there for other people that are going through or have gone through this as well. Yes, ma'am. It takes the average person leaving an abusive relationship 7 times to actually leave and be gone. But did you also know that within the first 2 weeks of leaving an abusive situation, your chances of being unalived increase by 75%? So, you know, it's scary. It's really scary. And if that person, if there is a pew-pew involved, it increases it 500 times. Yes, I understand that there are some people that just won't get it. I get that. But there's such a big number that I've seen that do make comments like this. And it's like being gaslit for being gaslit. You know? Like, oh, it wasn't really that bad. You could have helped yourself. You know? I'm going to look up the statistics, though, because after you leave and get a protective order, if you go that route and you do contact the cops, if somebody really wants to hurt you, do you really think they're going to care what a piece of paper says? So I'm going to look up and see what the statistics are of people that get injured after that had a protective order in place. And I'm going to get back to you guys. Okay, I got the information that I was talking about. Okay, a study found that approximately 11% of women unalived by male intimate partners had an active restraining order at the time of their unaliving. Notably, about 20% of these women were unalived within 2 days of obtaining that order, and roughly 1/3 within 1 month. The violation rates, protective orders in general, are violated at significant rates. Studies indicate that between 44% and 70% of such orders are breached, within many violations occurring within 90 days of issuance. Okay, and then re-abuse incidents. Nearly half of the victims who obtained a protective order reported re-abuse within 2 years, highlighting the persistent risk even after legal measures are in place. Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around your partner, but they've never laid a hand on you? That might be coercive control, and it is a form of abuse. In the next part of my series, I want to talk about coercive control. Coercive control is a pattern of behavior where someone tries to dominate or control you without getting physical. It's emotional and psychological abuse. It can look like controlling what you wear, isolating you from family and friends, monitoring your phone, making you feel guilty about having a life outside of them, using money to control your choices, or gaslighting you to making you think that you're the problem. You don't need bruises to be in danger. Coercive control breaks you down slowly, your confidence, your independence, and your sense of who you are. And that's how a lot of times abuse can start. If this sounds familiar, it's not your fault. You're not being traumatic. You're not crazy. You're being controlled, and that's not love. It's abuse. Comment a heart down at the bottom if you want to share your story, and follow along for more videos that are similar to this. If you've ever wondered why people stay, listen to this. I stayed because I loved them, because I was scared, because they made me feel like I would be nothing if I wasn't with them. Abuse breaks down your self-worth, and it isolates you from your support system. That's kind of how they gain that over you. The fear of starting over can feel paralyzing and scary, but leaving is not a single moment. It's a process. And if you're in that process right now, I'm proud of you. At one point, I didn't leave, even though I knew it was bad, because I felt like I deserved it, because he had broken me down so much that thinking that I was this piece of crap, that I thought I deserved what I was getting. If any of this resonates with you, or you've been through anything like this, leave a heart in the comments and follow along for more videos just like this one. Absolutely. The conditioning, people don't realize how slowly it builds. It starts with one thing and they build off of that one thing, and it gets more severe. So I'll give you an example. Mine would get heartburn frequently. So it started with, I have heartburn. Oh, do you want me to go get some Tums? Yeah, okay, I went and got the Tums. You know, later on, it would be like, oh, I have heartburn. And I would just go ahead and get the Tums to be nice and go give them to him. That escalated over time to, I have heartburn. And if I didn't get up immediately or even offer to go get the Tums, it was like irate. It was, you don't effing care. You're worthless. You're not good for anything. Just because I didn't go and get the Tums by him just saying, I have heartburn. But we have good times together. Today, I want to talk about trauma bonding. A trauma bond is a strong emotional attachment that forms between a person and someone who abuses, mistreats them. Trauma bonding is a psychological response to abuse that involves forming an emotional attachment to your abuser. This bond happens because a person being hurt feels confused, scared, and dependent on their abuser, and that's one of the things that makes it hard for them to leave. It can develop in a type of pattern followed by positive reinforcement. During the periods of positive reinforcement, you're seeing a side of them that you want. So when things start to happen that are not as good, you hold on to the good times to get you through those. You are given a false sense of hope that things will get better again. It will for a shorter period of time. That's that cycle. I'll probably touch more on trauma bonding and the steps to it in another video. If any of this sounds familiar to you or you have any questions, reach out in the comments, leave me a heart, and follow along for more videos just like this one. I wanted to give you the steps of trauma bonding. The first step is the love bombing, and it's when you're initially overwhelmed with affection, praise, gifts. This gains trust and affection. The next step is trust and dependency. And this is the step where the abuser manipulates the victim into believing they're the only source of support and validation, creating that dependency on their abuser. And this can involve isolating you from friends, family, any support system that you have, so they're your sole support. The third step is criticism. This is when the abuser begins to criticize and devalue the victim, making you feel inadequate and dependent on their approval. And this can be criticizing your appearance, the way you do certain things, really criticizing anything that you do constantly. Number 4 is manipulation and gaslighting. This is when the abuser uses manipulative tactics including gaslighting, to control their victim and make them doubt their own perception of reality. They can say things, you say, oh, but you said this, and they'll say, I didn't say that, but you know that they did. Makes you question yourself, further causing more confusion. Go to the next video for part 2, which includes step 5 through 7. This is going to be part 2, the steps for trauma bonding, numbers 5 through 7. Number 5 is resignation and giving up. This is when the victim becomes emotionally exhausted and feeling unable to leave or escape the cycle of abuse, kind of like freezing. Number 6, loss of self. The victim's sense of self is diminished as they become overly resilient to the abuser and lose touch with their own values and identity. This is when the victim's sense of self is diminished and they become overly reliant on their abuser, and they lose touch with their own values and their own identity because they take on that of their abuser, paying attention to their emotions more than theirs, paying attention to their needs more than their own needs, and so forth. Number 7 is emotional addiction. The victim becomes emotionally addicted to the abuser's attention and validation that they don't get very much, making it difficult to break free from the bond and that relationship. I hope breaking down all the steps of trauma bonding can give you an idea of how this works and the cycle that this entails. And if you have any questions or comments that you want to make, drop them down below and leave me a heart. Follow along for more information. Today I want to touch a little bit on the leaving part. If you're thinking about leaving an abusive relationship or abusive situation, first I just want to say that I'm proud of you and you're very brave. Leaving can be one of the hardest parts about an abusive relationship. I've talked before in other videos about how dangerous it can be for people to leave, especially in the first 2 weeks after leaving. There are things you can do if you're able to plan ahead of time. I understand too that some people don't have extra resources. They have a hard time saving for leaving because of financial control and financial abuse. There are people also that don't have a support system, that don't have a trusted person that they can rely on. If you have dealt with being in an abusive relationship, then I know that you are strong enough and you can do this for yourself, for you, your family, your children. You can do this. It's not easy taking that first step, and it's okay to feel scared and unsure of what will happen. Look up protective orders and restraining orders in your area so that you're aware of how to go about that should you need to do that. If you have a trusted person that can help you, there are a few things you could maybe give to them to hold on to in case you do need to leave or you leave in a rushed situation. I would not give my plan information out to a bunch of people. If you're able to set aside any kind of money in a Venmo, Cash App, or even opening a separate bank account, or you could save up cash and maybe give it to that trusted person so that you would have a little bit of something after you get out. Again, if you're able to. After you leave, healing and dealing with possible legal matters can take time. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are resources to help once you do leave. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is always open and ready to direct you to shelters, legal help, and counseling. Leaving is one of the hardest things that you'll do. And remember, you deserve safety and peace.